All right, back on the Young Turks. Now, I do have more Republican lunatics for you, but give me a minute. I'll get to them in a second. First, I want to do the stories about President Obama's re-election chances. Big Bloomberg poll out today, and I thought it was very telling in a couple of different ways. One about President Obama, two about the Republican candidates, and then three about how well Republican propaganda works. So let me take it one at a time. First, here's some numbers that are not good for the president. In general, do you think things in the nation are headed in the right direction, or have they gotten off the wrong track? Right direction, 26%. Wrong track, 66%. Not good news for the incumbent. What is your current view of the U.S. economy? 23% hopeful because there are signs of improvement. 25% fearful because things are getting worse. 51% cautious because nothing is really happening. When only 23% of the country believe that the economy is getting better, that is not good news for an incumbent. Now, one more thing on from this page of the poll. What do you think is the most important thing in the country, most important issue facing the country? 42% unemployment and jobs. Nearly laps the field, nearly as high as everything else combined, okay? At a distant second is government spending at 17%. Now, what is President Obama focusing on? The 17% because the Republicans told him to, and he's basically leaving the 42% alone. When 66% of the country thinks the country's on the wrong track, and only 23% think the economy is going to improve, and you're not doing anything about jobs because the Republicans told you to do something about the deficit, and believe me, that 17% is only 17% just because the Republicans have spent so much time doing propaganda on it. And if we had somebody who fought back, I don't think it'd be anywhere near 17%. And it's already sadly low. All right, now, are you better or worse off than you were at the beginning of 2009 when President Obama took office? 34% better off, 44% worse off, 21% about the same. Bad numbers. They're going to ask you during the election, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That's a classic question. And if you're thinking you're worse off, that doesn't make you likely to vote for the president. Do you expect American children will have higher, lower, or about the same standard of living than their parents do today? 23% higher, 55% lower. Lower, Jack, lower, lower, 19% the same. Now, when they have so little hope that their children are going to live a better life, do you think that sits well for an incumbent president? Do you think the economy will get back to 5% unemployment, which it was at before the recession hit in 2008, in the next 2 years? You know how many people think in the next 2 years that's going to happen? 8%. Well, the election is within 2 years, okay? These are not good numbers. All right, now, on to the good numbers for the president. It's not about the president, it's about the Republicans. And this is the whole strategy for President Obama. I'm hoping for the worst possible opponent, and then I will win because the country cannot stomach the alternative. Okay, and he's right to think that strategy because listen to these numbers. Who do you think has laid out a better vision for a successful economic future for the U.S., President Obama or the Republicans? Now, they just told you over and over again that they're not buying what President Obama is selling, right? 40% President Obama, 37% Republicans. So the country's saying, I'm not buying Obama, but I'm sure as hell not buying the Republicans. More evidence to that effect. Thinking ahead to the election in 2012, which worries you more? 49% Republicans will gain control of both houses of Congress and the presidency and will implement their proposed cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and many other domestic programs. Only 40% Democrats will retain the White House, et cetera, et cetera. So they're more afraid that the Republicans will gain control than the Democrats will. Good news for Obama. And then finally, this is a perfect juxtaposition of the two sides. In 2012, President Obama will have had his chance. If the economy isn't substantially better by Election Day, it will be very hard to vote for him. Now, how many people agree with that? 45% strongly agree, 16% mostly agree. So you've got a little over 60% saying if the economy ain't better by the election, this guy's toast. So that's disastrous for the president because I don't think it's going to get better. Okay. When you turn to the Republicans, well, this is funny. To win the nomination, the Republican nominee will have moved so far to the right on fiscal and social issues, it will be very hard to vote for that candidate. Agree or disagree? 33% strongly agree, 27% mostly agree, meaning that same 60%. So the country is split right there saying, I don't think I can vote for Obama. On the other hand, I don't think I could vote for the Republicans. Damned if I do, damned if I don't, right? And there it is. That's why it should be a close election. You know what would help the president is if he actually got the economy moving and focused on jobs. Even if he didn't get the economy moving, if it seemed like he's the guy pushing for jobs and the Republicans are fighting him, that probably would sit well. I'm amazed how little they know about politics. Amazed. Okay, now, the devastating numbers for right-wing propaganda working. You ready for this? Again, this goes to Al Gore's point. Which of the following approaches is more likely to be successful in growing the U.S. economy and creating jobs? Let me give you the lower numbers first, and then I'm going to give you the big number. 17% say government needs to keep spending at current level now because the job market is so weak. 17% say government needs to spend more to stimulate the economy. 11% aren't sure. 55% say spending cuts and tax cuts will give businesses more confidence to hire. Fail. Now, we've done tax cuts for 10 straight years. We've lost 1 million jobs. Bill Clinton raised taxes. In 8 years, we gained 23 million jobs. This is flat out not true. There isn't an economist in the country that isn't funded by Koch Industries that believes that if you do spending cuts, that you will stimulate the economy. You will not. You will lose jobs, okay? And we know the tax cuts don't work. We know it. But yet 55% of the country thinks so. Why? Because the Republicans say it 1 million times. And what does President Obama say? The same thing. He says, we got to do spending cuts. Spending cuts, spending cuts. He did a whole big speech about spending cuts. And then, so he says, when the Republicans say jump, I'm going to jump. I'm just not going to quite jump as high as they say. And then what happens? Well, nobody got the other side. Since nobody got the other side, you got a 55% number looking at you. And of course, what is Obama's team going to do? You don't think they have these polls? The polls get sent directly into their brains. So this poll comes in, and of course, the White House looks at this and goes, oh, my God, 55%, that's it, we got to do spending cuts. It's over, man. They look at that poll, and they will, and they're going to say, oh, my God, the Republicans were so right. They're looking for spending cuts. Let's do it. It's pathetic. You never made your own case. All right, last thing. When asked for a major reason why we have the unemployment problem that we do, first of all, the American people get it right. Number one answer is U.S. companies are investing in jobs overseas instead of in the U.S. Absolutely correct. That's a 78%. So they get it, right? And there are some other things that are true that are helpful to the president. Situations like the 2008 financial crisis just take time to heal. I don't think that's the main answer, but that's part of the answer. That's 58%. Okay, that's what President Obama wants you to believe, and that's partly right. Okay? Now, here are the devastatingly wrong answers. At 65%, the size of the federal deficit makes the economy unstable. It's just not true. It's not remotely true. Now, look, you know I'm a deficit hawk, right? Anybody who watches this show regularly knows that I want to balance the budget. I care a lot about balancing the budget. I think we should raise taxes and, if need be, do some spending cuts, okay? I think it should be balanced. I think everybody should pay their fair share, right? But right now, the deficit is not causing the economy any problems, because the way that it would cause problems is that people would not want to lend us money, and hence interest rates would go up, and interest rates going up would hurt the economy. But interest rates are at historic lows. So this is literally not true. Yet since the Republicans have said it 1 million times, 65% of the American public thinks the major reason we don't have jobs is because of the deficit problem. Because nobody fought back. Because when you went to the Democrats said, oh my God, we've got a massive deficit, the Republicans are right, but we're just going to cut a little less than them. All right, last one. They say 52% say that uncertainty about new government regulations and taxes is discouraging companies from hiring. That is Republican talking point 101, man. Somebody fight back. For the love of God, fight back, man. If you don't fight back, you lose. And by the way, that's not even true. That's the funny part is, even though there is no fight back, we win on almost every issue except the ones I just mentioned right there about the deficit, right? We win on Afghanistan, we win on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, raising taxes on the rich, cutting the defense spending. We win on every issue, and we don't even have anybody representing our side. Imagine if you had a president who was a real progressive and actually fought for our positions. Imagine how big our victories would be in public opinion and then eventually in results. It is so discouraging. Meanwhile, President Obama's team is looking around at their electoral map, and And there's this long article, which I won't get into the details of because it's useless. They're like, okay, well, what happens if Indiana goes this way, but Florida goes that way, and then Ohio goes this way? Dude, man, by the time we get to November of 2012, what is unemployment at? It ain't gonna be down to like, oh, who voted in Indiana and who voted in Iowa, okay? I don't think so. I could be wrong. Maybe the Republican candidate is so awful that it is that close, right? But my guess is it's going to be the Romney or Huckabee, and they're going to pretend that they're going to create jobs. If it's Huckabee, he'll come in and pretend to be populist, okay? Romney will pretend to be a businessman that could fix the economy. And it's not going to be Bachmann, it's not going to be Palin. This dream that the Obama team has of running against an insane lunatic, they're not going to run against Louis Gohmert. And then they're going to be in a world of trouble. The more I look at the numbers, the more I think, oh, bad news, man. Bad news. All right. Now I got to give you a couple more Republicans. All right. So, Herman Cain, running for president. I was going to say bless his heart, but not really. He's got an idea about how we should do environmental regulation. His brilliant idea is we should put the oil companies in charge of environmental regulation. You kidding me? Well, he's not kidding us. Let's check it out.
On the energy program you talked about, if you tell me what you would do specifically as far as all of the different kinds, whether you're talking coal, ethanol, natural gas, and certainly our own oil, will you work to level the playing field,
right.
Or what are you going to do?
Several things. Here are the two biggest things. Number one, the EPA is the biggest barrier to more permits, more drilling, more shale oil production. So I'm going to have a regulatory reduction commission that I'm going to appoint that's going to go in and determine how we make things move faster. Some regulations we need. I'm not anti-regulation. I'm just anti-too much regulation. And the people on this commission are going to be people who know something about coal, oil, shale oil, natural gas, and they will be people whose businesses or individuals who have been abused by the EPA. If you've been abused by the EPA, like Shell Oil, I'm going to ask the CEO of Shell Oil, would he like to be on this commission? And give me some recommendations. The people closest to the problem are the ones who can solve the problem. That's one of my guiding principles.
That's awesome. He just said he's going to put Shell Oil in charge of environmental regulations. Why? Because they're the closest to the problem. Yeah, because they're the ones creating the problem. And you think Shell Oil and Exxon's going to be like, now how much money should we spend on regulations? What do you guys think? You think zero? Or should we like kid around and like spend like $10? $10? All right, $10 we're spending on regulations. What a joke you are, Herman Cain. Look, but as I look at that, I think, can they really be that stupid? Is it possible? And I think maybe it is. So there's only two possibilities, right? Because he's like, I don't know, who should we put in charge of oil regulation? How about the oil companies? Or he thinks all my viewers here and all the people who might vote for me are total morons. And so he thinks like, I'll make this ridiculous argument. Well, aren't they the closest ones to the regulations? Wouldn't it make sense for them to regulate? And then he thinks his audience is so stupid, and then he's going to pull a fast one on him. I'm not quite sure. You be the judge. By the way, does Herman Cain get money from the oil industry? Say it with me. Of course, he's been getting a ton of money from the oil industry. So it's probably the latter, where he thinks the audience is stupid. Well, are you? Depends. Will you vote for him? Or, by the way, any Republican, because they all, they all believe the same thing. They're just a little bit more tactful than Herman Cain. I got a lot more stories to give you. Okay, I got to go. All right, you know what? Speaking of dumb Republicans, Newt Gingrich, turns out, owes another $500,000 to Tiffany's. My soundboard? Okay, oops. You ready now? Now you're in suspense, right? What's it going to be?
Oh, no, not again.
It turns out he might owe $1 million to Tiffany's. $1 million. I was going to come here, please.
Get.
Okay, that's not all. He says he's a professor at National Defense University. Huffington Post called National Defense University. They're like, not really. It's an honorary title. He comes and gives a speech every once in a while. Is he a professor with a syllabus grading tests? Is that? He ain't no professor. So then they had to go back and change his website and say like, honorary professor.
Oh, no, not again.
But will you please, for the love of God, just leave the race already, okay? You're a national embarrassment. All right. Speaking of national embarrassment, Sarah Palin. You know what she did? She quit the race. She quit her bus tour. You know how One Nation, she's going around in the bus and talking about Paul Revere shooting people and warning the British and sounding bells and stuff? Gone. She was supposed to go to Iowa next. She went to New Hampshire. She was supposed to go to Iowa and South Carolina. And the reporters looked around and they're like, where's the bus? Okay. There ain't no bus. The bus is gone. She went back home to Alaska. They're like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm taking a load off. What? But I don't get it. And she raised all this money from her PAC to do the bus tour. I wonder where that went. I don't know. But she's gone, man. The bus tour is just left. She's unbelievable. She quit again. Unbelievable. So, I asked reporters today, I said, what do you think happened here? They're like, yeah, Bachmann kind of stole her thunder. And so she might have gotten, a little annoyed at that and went back home. That's amazing, man. I can't believe it. I mean, you would think with Sarah Palin I'd believe anything, but I can't quite believe that. She just canceled it. She's fishing in Alaska. I love this job, man. This is so much fun. All right, one last thing. Alcee Hastings. Alcee Hastings is a Democrat, congressional ethics panel looking into charges that he might have made unwanted sexual advances towards a staffer.
Oh, no, not again.
What are you guys doing, man? Now, look, he comes out guns blazing now and says, oh, no, this is ludicrous and unacceptable, etc. I'm going to read you a quote from his initial response when he was asked about this from a reporter. Quite frankly, your source has as much or more information than I do, and I would suggest you rely upon them. That doesn't sound like a denial. It would be impossible for me in a paragraph or a page or two or a tome or volumes 1 and 2 to help you understand the dynamics of these events. I'll leave it at that. Guilty. That does not sound good, man. And then later he's like, what, me? An affair? Oh, don't be ridiculous. By the way, it's not quite an affair. It's a lawsuit filed by Winsome Packer saying that not only did he make unwanted sexual advances, but that he threatened her job. Now, look, the legal group representing her is Judicial Watch, which is a conservative group. So when I saw that, that raised a red flag, okay? So, we don't know the whole story. We'll see. We'll find out, et cetera, et cetera. But his non-denial in the beginning was pretty bad, right? And if it is true, unwanted sexual advances, especially threatening a job of a staffer, is beyond unacceptable. Definite resignation, firing offense, whatever you got to do, you got to get him the hell out. If it's true, we'll see how it plays out. And then, of course, I'm out of time, but let me just say that one of the best stories of today was Brave New Film's expose on how the Koch brothers fund think tanks, congressmen, and how they spread that message on Fox News, etc. A brilliant piece by them on Koch brothers exposed. I did do an interview with Robert Greenwald, and we will not only put that clip up on our YouTube channel, I need you to watch it because that was great. We're just out of time here, but I did a whole segment on it on MSNBC, and we are putting it up on the YouTube channel. Check that out, and then check out the original video that Brave New Films did, which is brilliant as well. We'll put a link up to it underneath that YouTube video, okay? So we'll come back with the next hour.
Idiot. I'm a fucking 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 idiot. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot.
jobs. All right.
That was awesome.
Yeah. They're gonna lose, man. At some point, I read you those poll numbers. I'm not sure it delivered it enough. At some point today, I looked at all the stories I was reading, and I was like, oh shit, they're gonna lose. They got to get off this track, man. Things can happen. They can pick a crazy Republican, or President Obama can get off the track quickly enough. He's gonna get off the track at some point. At some point, it's gonna dawn on him, oh, duh, I should have focused on jobs, right? The question is if it's gonna be too late or not, okay?
Right. I mean, between now and the election is like a lifetime.
Right.
So, yeah, there's definitely a huge chance that he can turn things around. But do you really think he's going to?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he's so oblivious. No. It seems like he's oblivious. He doesn't understand what the priorities are right now. Spending $300 million on the war on drugs is crazy.
Okay, that's the least of his problems.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid, but that's the least of his problems.
Well, what's going on, Jesus?
He ain't dumb. He knows what's happening.
So why do you think he's doing what he's doing?
To get rich, bitch.
But he's rich either way. I don't think that's it.
Obviously, no. I don't know why. He's just naturally weak, I guess. He just can't stand up.
Oh, it's so sad.
I mean, it's sad.
It is really sad. That's definitely part of it. Like, I mean, look, Bob Shrum was on. Last thing on this, and then we'll go have the fun stories. The Democratic analyst on the MSNBC show, first segment, right? And he says, no, President Obama stood up to the Pentagon by taking out 10,000 troops by the end of the year. They wanted him to only take out 5,000.
Whoop-de-doo.
Okay, I mean, that wasn't even on the board, man. The lowest option was 10,000. The highest option was 50,000, right? And he thinks he stood up to the Pentagon. But the thing is, I believe that Obama does think he stood up to the Pentagon. I think he thinks, what now? You thought I was only going to take out 5,000. I took out 10. What now? Right? And as I showed you the graph, by the time he leaves office, we're going to have twice as many troops as when he started in Afghanistan, right? And then he thinks, oh, I'm ending the war in Afghanistan. No, you doubled the war in Afghanistan. You're not ending it. And if a Republican wins, that war can go for another 10 years.
Ugh.
Right? So what? Okay, please, let's move forward, please, before I lose it, before I start to cry. Okay. Anyway,
all right.
Yes.
Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Jose Antonio Vargas just recently came out to New York Times, but he didn't come out as a gay individual, even though he is gay. He came out as an undocumented immigrant.
No, that's a double whammy. I mean, geez, Lord mercy, why doesn't he become Muslim while he's at it?
Yeah, you got a point there. But his story is so incredible. You know, his mother found a way to get him into the United States when he was 12 years old. His mother wasn't able to come, so she's been in the Philippines. He's Filipino. All this time, he has not seen his mother since he was 12 years old. You know, he's lived with his grandfather and grandmother. And just hearing about his story is, it both makes you sad, but it's also inspiring because he had to work so hard to not only prove to himself, but almost prove to others that he had a right to be here. You know, he wanted to be as successful as possible so he can prove to society that he's not that stereotypical illegal alien that people paint in the media. You know, he's someone who can actually contribute something to society, and he's someone that is worthy of being here. And it makes you so sad, but then you read about his story and all the things he's achieved and accomplished, and it's incredible. First of all, if you don't have papers, you can't apply for scholarships. He graduated at the top of his class in high school. He got into San Francisco State, not San Francisco. He got into a university in San Francisco, a really good university. Yeah, San Francisco State. And he couldn't pay for it because he couldn't get financial aid. So he had a whole support system, teachers that were, you know, definitely moved by his story and knew about the fact that he was an illegal immigrant. And they found scholarships for him. And, you know, through determination, he was able to find the scholarships to go to school, and he was able to find work, even though he found work with fake papers.
Right. So, look, I'm conflicted on this story, putting the kidding aside from earlier, right? The reason I'm conflicted is because, look, throughout this whole thing, he's cheating, right? Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be here. Then he, you know, fixes the papers. He gets a fake driver's license, fake this, fake that, right? And, you know, you should do things the right way. So, and it was undocumented, illegal, whatever you want to call it from the beginning, right? So, on the other hand, we sit in the comfortableness of our citizenship.
Right.
And we don't feel like we have to prove anything, and we just sit around like, I'm an American, right? Whereas this guy's busting his ass to prove that he's worthy of being an American.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
And so does that make me love the guy? Of course it does, right? So my heart goes out to him, no question about that. And then he has all these accomplishments. And so that goes towards my conclusion of my conflict on this story, right? So that's why I'm in favor of the DREAM Act, and that's why I'm in favor of pathway to citizenship. Look, if you just come in, mosey on in, and go, all right, I'd just like to be a citizen. Well, I mean, we can't have that, right? Otherwise, everybody would come in, right? But if for the undocumented immigrants that have as the original proposal was for a pathway to citizenship, they work 10 long years, 12 long years, however long it takes, and then they become citizens. Come on, they earned it, man. What more do you want from them? Do you want blood from a stone? What do you want, right? And that's, if they do that, then they've shown that they want to work and be productive members of society and want to be Americans. Okay, that we got to do that, right? And in the DREAM Act, you're brought in here as a minor, as he was, right? And you work your way through high school, and then you get to a point where you've got great grades and you're ready to go to college, be a contributing member of society, or you're ready to join the Army, contribute to the country that way. Well, then let him go. Let him go,
Yeah,
okay?
I couldn't agree more with that. The fact that the DREAM Act hasn't passed yet, it just, what are we waiting for? I mean, it's not his fault that at the age of 12, his mom got him into the United States. Like, he didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
The person, it was a coyote who got him onto the plane. He pretended like he was his uncle from America. Right? Later on, he found out that wasn't my uncle, it was a coyote.
Oh, that's so interesting, because he's 12 years old. He doesn't know.
Right.
Look, I remember when I came over when I was 8, and we came over legally and everything, so get off my back. But I remember waking up one night, and about 2 weeks in, and I started crying, right? And my dad came out. I was by the stairs, and he sat next to me on the stairs, and he's like, what's up? And I said, I thought you guys were kidding. I thought we were on vacation. Oh, are you going to cry again?
A little bit.
And I thought we were going to go back. I'm like, that's our whole family's there. Our friends are there. I didn't know, right? And it turns out we're staying, right? So when you're a kid, you don't know. It wasn't his fault that he was brought here, et cetera. Now, I'm really afraid for him because, now that he said this, they're not going to, even if the DREAM Act passes, which is no certainty whatsoever, and you begin to have that conversation only in 2013, if the Republicans lose the House, there's a million ifs in there, right? They're not going to apply it retroactively. I think he's in a lot of trouble. I mean, I think it took a lot of courage for him to come out like this, but I'm worried about him, man. I mean, look, Republicans will swarm over stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm worried about him too, and I don't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know what's going to happen, so I guess he's sitting around waiting to see, what the consequences are going to be. But it not only was it extremely brave for him to do this, it also was a massive relief because he went through his life feeling this tremendous amount of guilt, basically lying to everyone, people who care about him, people who have invested in him and everything. He's just completely lied to them, employers, throughout his entire life. Yeah. So for him, coming out this way was, almost like lifting a huge boulder off his shoulders.
No, there's no question. This is the new closet. Because, as it has become easier and easier to come out of the closet for being gay, now, people, a lot of, in the cities and stuff, you're like, oh, you were gay, who cares, right? This is real, though, right?
It is.
And it's a real line that you got to carry around with you and stuff. And I'm sure he feels relief. But again, look, when I was at Netroots, these women came up and others and said, I'm undocumented, right? And they say it in public. And they're trying to do the same thing as Vargas is, show a real face to undocumented immigrants, not the stereotype, et cetera. It's very useful, very good, et cetera. But as I was sitting there looking at them, I'm going, man, I don't know if I'd do that. That's really putting yourself out there and asking for a world of trouble. I mean, because Fox News is going to go on the warpath any second.
Yeah, that's true. And there are severe consequences. Not only do you get deported, if you ever want to become a citizen of the United States, you are banned from the U.S. for 10 years. And then you can sign for papers or apply for papers. And in that case, they're going to say no. I mean, of course, there are exceptions.
They might, they might, since he's high profile, maybe they'll pardon him or something. Right. I don't know if there is such a pardon for such things and stuff. But look, you know me, I'm not afraid of any Fox attack, right? But I'm not in his position. When Fox attacks, what do you think happens with Democrats? You think Democrats are going to stand up for Jose Antonio Vargas? Is that what you think? You think they're going to protect him and keep him in the country? Dude, I'm thinking I'm going to visit him in Manila in a couple of years, right? I mean, God, man, I stay strong, brother. Stay strong. I hope he's all right, but that's a bold move.
All right, let's have some fun. Colorado police arrested a man in Boulder, Colorado, who was found inside the tank of a portable toilet at a yoga fest.
Obviously.
No, this is the most disgusting story in the world. Like, this makes me, I feel like humanity has failed. Because, no.
Humanity in its entirety has failed.
No,
but you know what? If anywhere you're going to be found in a toilet bowl in one of these things, it would be at a yoga festival. Because you're doing some sort of like sitting dog position. You're like, what's sick today? You fall into the toilet.
You don't understand. Okay, let me make sure you guys can understand how disgusting this story is. Okay.
Okay, go.
He's in a portable toilet's tank. Okay, people are like, and he's covered with a tarp. This is how it happens. So a woman at the yoga fest goes into a porta potty, right? She's doing her business, but as she lifts the toilet seat or whatever, she notices there's something moving around in the tank. So she freaks out. She walks outside. She sees another man there, and she tells the man, "Hey, there's something moving in the tank. Can you just, take a look?"
Right.
I don't think I would take a look. Like, I don't want to look inside the tank because it's nasty.
Not unless I'm getting paid. I mean, if it's my job, I guess I got to look. Otherwise, I'm running for the hills.
Right. So
I'm thinking,
Get.
So he looks inside the tank and he sees that there's a man in there covered with a tarp.
Of course.
Okay.
What the hell's he doing in there?
No, he's getting turned on by it. He gets turned on by women sitting on or people sitting on the toilet seat and taking a dump on him.
Oh no! Fail.
Are you not?
Fail.
He did not understand.
No, I didn't understand. I thought he fell in there because he was doing sitting dog.
No, I thought he was hiding from the cops. Like the cops were looking for him, and he said, "Why didn't I just hide in the toilet?"
No, but you know what's? No, I thought he was doing yoga and fell in.
What? Oh my God.
No, that's I'm serious. No, because you always hear the stories of like, oh, then a woman's going to the bathroom next, she didn't know she was pregnant, and then the baby comes out and it's in the toilet. How many times have we done that story, right? Okay, but now that I find out his real purpose, it actually turns from a fail to a little bit of a win. Okay, no, it ain't right. No, it ain't right. It ain't right. Okay, now hold on. Okay, he should be arrested, put in jail, pervy wanker of the world, et cetera, right? But I guess if you're going for that thrill, I mean, that's like going the extra mile, right? I mean, would you go that far for an orgasm? I mean, this guy's serious about his orgasms. And you know what? If you're into that kind of thing, it's the perfect place for you, right?
It's disgusting.
Think about it.
By the way, Jesus makes a good point. Maybe he was in there not to get turned on, because the article doesn't explicitly say that he did it to get turned on, right? So maybe he was in there because police, but even if you were hiding from police, why would you hide in a portable toilet tank? That doesn't make any sense. Like, there are other places to hide that are a little better.
No.
He was
He's
getting
into
turned
it.
on.
No, he's totally
and he had
into
a tarp
it.
And it's disgusting. Okay.
The gentleman is wrong.
It gets worse.
It is a shame.
It is.
A shame.
It is. It gets worse, though.
Oh, how could it get worse?
It does get worse.
All right.
It does. So he's in this tank. He's getting pooped on, okay? So the man who discovered him went and told a security guard. The security guard stood outside of the porta potty until the tarp-covered weirdo came out. When he did come out, he got arrested, blah, blah, blah. Cops arrested him. They said that they found, oh, God. He had several cuts on his legs and his back. So, like, I don't know how he got the cuts, right? But that doesn't matter. He's getting pooped on while he has cuts on his legs and his back. He's going to get a terrible infection.
Well, not only getting pooped on, he's in the tank of the porta potty, okay? And forget him. Who cares about him? That guy's like the worst guy in the world, right? How about the poor cops who had to arrest him?
He's not arrested. He got away. I'm sorry about that. He ran away. So he ran away.
But you know why? It's because the cops are like, all right, who wants to chase him down?
No. This is what it says.
Get covered in poop and then handcuff him. Who?
The
You gonna do it?
supervisor.
Instead, here's what the cops said to one another.
The gentleman will sit.
Okay, and then once they said, they thought.
The gentleman is correct in sitting.
The story is such a disaster.
Okay, keep going.
No, I was just going to say the supervisor tried to detain the suspect, but he ran away covered in feces.
And then he said,
So you can run and tell that.
Look, every once in a while we do these really lowbrow stories, and I feel guilty for bringing them up. But how can you not bring the story up?
I don't feel guilty at all. I don't know why you guys feel guilty. Look, man, we are here to cover the interesting news of the day. And the interesting news of the day is Obama's bad poll numbers, Louis Gohmert, Al Gore going after Obama, Afghanistan, and a man stuck in the tank, getting the poop on. Now, okay, by the way, out of all those stories, when you go home, which ones are you going to tell?
The poop tank.
You might tell the Gore one, right? Because the Gore going Obama, I think that's a huge story. I think it's a really interesting story. And you're going to tell the guy in the tank. Okay, keep it real. Keep it real. All right, that's what we do. All right, furthermore.
All right. Monique Lawless from Texas saw 3 men shoplifting from a local Walmart. So she was surprised when no one did anything about it, and she decided to take matters into her own hands. The awesome part is we have video. Let's watch.
Go.
A Walmart shopper in Texas has just had enough of the petty crime in her neighborhood. So when she saw 3 guys stealing beer, she just couldn't stand there watching. Check this out. She left her spot in the checkout line and chased them out to the parking lot. And then watch, onto the Camaro, onto the hood. She actually tried to hang on as they sped off.
Wow, is she okay?
Yes, she actually slowed them down enough to allow police to catch up. As you can see, they actually pinned one suspect against a fence. And here's the best part. The crime fighter extraordinaire's name, Monique Lawless. Do not mess with Monique.
It turns out she was lawful.
She was lawful. That's an incredible story. You want to know what I would have done in that situation? Nothing.
Okay.
Enjoy your beer.
Here's what I would have done.
The gentleman will sit.
Okay, I ain't chasing nobody. What am I, Ahmed Abi? The guy from Turkey throwing the beer bottles at the crooks? Oh, no. I'm no people's champion. Look, I'd have been like, whoever the security guy would be like, I'm like, dude, you might want to check that out. Okay, but that's all I got. That's how I'm done. Man, getting on top of that Camaro, is she crazy? They were going to drive off, and they did drive off.
They could have easily pinned her, and she would have been severely injured. That was a terrible idea. Don't do things like that. Don't try to be a hero. It's just beer, okay?
The flip side
plus,
is...
Walmart deserves it.
Okay, no, that's ridiculous. No, they don't. Okay, but look, first of all, she's now our people's champion. Like Ahmed Abi was Turkey's people's champion. Okay, so I like that. Second of all, I love her, don't get me wrong, right? Third of all, you think Walmart would have done her the same solid?
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Give me a break.
Okay. Like, oh, she's going to get, it's going to cost her $12.95. Let me risk, Walmart CEO is risking his life to help her. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Here's what the Walmart executives would have said to one another.
The gentleman is correct in sitting.
Okay. They would have had no interest whatsoever. All right, listen, we have to take the tiniest break of all time. And when we come back, actually one of my favorite stories of the day, even though Anna's been hiding it. But
Is it not next to my rundown?
It is next. It is next. I love it. All right, come right back.